let's do a couple of these examples, number 4 and 6. Try this y equal cosine x minus pi over 2. Now, there's nothing to factor out, but it does have a shift to it. We have a 1 in front for an amplitude of 1. We have a 1 in front of the parentheses, so the period is 2 pi over 1, or 2 pi. The shift is just pi over 2. Because it's x minus, that will be my c. So this was my A, and this was my B. So then, for the horizontal shift, negative means left or right? What do you think? Negative means to the right. Because if positive pi over 2 will make this 0. So then it's going to be to the right. No vertical shift at this time. So when I sketch cosine, I start at the top here, come down, go up, and then that's my normal 0 to 2 pi. Middle is pi. And we go up to 1 and down to negative 1. Except this one is shifting to the right pi over 2. So now you're going to see why I like to take this, split it in half, this, split it in half, so that when I shift this to the right pi over 2, I've already got the numbers listed there, and you can kind of see how that pi over 2 is shifted to the right. That's good enough. You can see that clearly. Make sure you shift it to the right and not to the left. I'll let you do number 5. Let's go to number 6. 6, you're going to need to factor out, you still have A as 1, and amplitude is 1. But for B, you're going to have to factor out first. So this is going to be y is equal to sine 2 times x minus pi over 2. If you're having trouble figuring that thing out, what I like to go is 2 times what equals pi over 2. If you divide by 2, you're going to get pi over 4 for that shift. So this is going to be, no, this was already pi. This was pi. So I divided by 2, and I get pi over 2. There you go. So there is your A, there's your B, there's your C. And so B was 2, so 2 pi over 2 is pi. C is pi over 2, and that's going to be pi over 2 to the right again. There's no vertical shift up or down. Okay, so let's sketch it. We'll sketch the sine curve. Sine of 0 is 0. Go up, down, and back. And we're going to go up to 1, down to negative 1. 1 cycle is pi, so this will be pi over 2. Now that's interesting because pi over 2 is shift to the right is going to look just like if I flipped over the original one. Do this one. Number 8. What's the first thing you want to do to this one? Factor out, because it's not a shift of 2 pi unless it's x minus something. So we're going to factor out a 3. So you're going to get 3 times x minus 2 pi over 3. And you could do that. 3 times what is 2 pi, and you can see where it would be 2 pi over 3. Plus 4. So this one's got it all. Except an amplitude. It just has 1 for an amplitude. There's your A. Your B is 3, so that'll be 2 pi over 3, which is kind of weird when you see what C is. C is also 2 pi over 3. So that's going to shift back to itself. So this is going to be 2 pi over 3 to the right. But either way, left or right, it's still going to land in the same place. and then D is 4. We do have a D this time. Okay, so start by drawing the cosine. Cosine of 0 is 1. You got it? And then, Tommy, how you doing? Or Ben, how you doing? Yeah, thank you. And so this goes up to 1, down to negative 1, and then it's going to have a period of 2 pi over 3. And then this is going to be pi over 3. But it isn't going to matter because when we shift this thing 2 pi over 3, here's what it does. It goes right continuing on. Anything back here would go right back onto it. So this graph that I drew here is the same as if I shifted it to the right. Now we do have to move up 4, so I'm going to, this should be 1. If I add 4, this is going to go up from 4 minus 1 is 3. This is going to start at 3 and end up at 5, isn't it? So it's going to go from 3 to 5. Or if you wanted to, and you really shouldn't, but I would do it. I would go 3 to 5 and just scratch this out. And here's the axis down there. It's cheap, but it works. And we're sketching. So the best way to graph is how? Computer or calculator. But we're sketching these. We just do our best we can. That's number 8.